Corey Lamont Holcomb was born on June 23, 1966. He's an American comedian, radio host, and actor, born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. Corey came up in the notorious, now torn down, Robert Taylor homes. Following a short college basketball career, Corey began doing stand-up comedy and quickly emerged as one of the faces of Chicago's comedy scene in the late 1990s. He toured the country developing his craft and building a cult following of fans. In the early 2000s, Corey would take a risk to better his life and career by driving from Chicago to Los Angeles on a revoked license. He appeared on television shows such as The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Comic View, Def Comedy Jam, Last Comic Standing, and Nick Cannon Presents Wild 'N Out. He appeared in 4 different comedy specials of his own: Corey Holcomb, The Problem Is You, Comedy Central Presents Corey Holcomb, From Your Way Ain't Working, and The Book of Corinthians. He had a breakout performance in the 2010 edition of Shaquille O'Neal's All-Star Comedy Jam. As an actor, he appeared as a guest star on sitcoms such as Half and Half, and a main role as Booney on the television show Black Jesus, as well as roles in films such as Think Like a Man 2, The Wedding Ringer. He was also a recurring voice actor on The Cleveland Show. He's even starred in music videos for artist Kendrick Lamar's If These Walls Can Talk. Holcomb was a regular personality on Jamie Foxx's satellite radio channel, The Foxhole Radio, from 2007 to 2011. After that, he continued to host his own internet show, The Corey Holcomb's 5150 Show, which currently airs Tuesday nights live on YouTube. As a comedian, Corey has been given respect and praise by some of the top comedians in the world, from Dave Chappelle to Kevin Hart to Chris Rock and Bill Burr. With his success has come controversy. So today we explore the reason why Corey Holcomb has become one of the most hated comedians. You are now watching The Life Television, where we bring exclusive videos on music, movies, and history. Please like and subscribe for more. When the Corey Holcomb 5150 Show moved to YouTube in 2014, Corey was free to speak his mind about anything and anyone he wanted to without censorship. The weekly show began with co-host Darlene Ortiz, who is currently still a part of the show. Corey would have co-hosts such as Zoe Williams, whom we met while working on Foxhole Radio. The show became a diary where Corey would speak honestly on his life, family, and career, as well as issues in society. His style of comedy was often brutally honest, not caring about who he offended or about crossing the line. Corey continued to be consistent with the weekly show. He invested his money in the show so it can remain independent and he could keep control. Pioneered the concept of a podcast, which would become a trend on the internet, where comedians and entertainers have their own show with a similar concept. He continued to tour doing sold-out shows throughout the country to the same viewers who would watch the show, building his cult following, the 5150 Nation. So when Hollywood seemed to not pay him attention, the 5150 Show became his voice directly to his fans. With the comedy world listening, his numbers would reflect the hard work, and it became one of the most highly viewed shows on YouTube till this day. On his show, Corey was very critical of ESPN, TV personality, and sports journalist Stephen A. Smith because of his biased criticism of black athletes, criticism that he would not give to white athletes for doing the same things. Corey would voice his disdain for Stephen. Stephen, who was a fan of Corey, would hear about the comments, and both would state that they could not wait to see each other face to face. Eventually, the two would run into each other during the All-Star Weekend in Chicago at a restaurant. The two would be respectful and cordial with each other, even posing for a picture. Corey would receive criticism from those thinking that he should have been violent with Stephen in the middle of a crowded restaurant. Corey would respond to the criticism by saying that's not how a man with business carries himself. An emotional man who is led by emotions would fight anywhere because he has no control of his emotions. I ain't led by emotions. In 2017, Corey allowed fellow comedian Aries Spears on the show. The show was going great until an intoxicated Spears began disrespecting co-hosts Darlene and Zoe. Aries viewed it as comedy and continued on until Zoe got fed up and began to hit Aries, who balled himself up and didn't hit back. Even though Spears suffered minor to no injuries, the footage of the fight was leaked to TMZ, causing it to go viral, resulting in Spears deleting his social media and hiring lawyers to sue Corey and Zoe. The lawsuit ended up not going nowhere, but caused a permanent division between the two comedians. What made Corey different from other comedians was he would honestly talk about his personal problems on the show, whether it be with his own family or friends. He looked at his issues as being a part of the show and was not scared to let the viewer into who he is and what he was going through. Corey would give upcoming comedians the opportunity to be a part of his show. Some he would consider friends. So when friendships would end in disagreements and arguments, instead of keeping it behind the scenes, he would let viewers see it and let them know exactly what happened and how he felt about the person. This happened when Corey and Ray Grady, a comedian who was frequent on the show, fell out. Corey would tease Grady Grady about his dishonesty. He said Grady would perpetrate like a Chicago gang member, but the truth is he grew up in a white suburb outside of Chicago. The dishonesty would cause a fallout live on air when Corey was talking about men having more than one woman. Grady stated that he never slept around on his wife. Corey went on to ask him again, how long was he married? He said 9 years, and repeated he never cheated on his wife. This caused Ray to get upset with Corey. Even when Corey called him after the show, Ray was still upset, and he never returned to the show again. That disagreement would cause tension between Corey and Zoe, his co-host on the show for years. Zoe was friends with both Ray and Corey, and stated live on the show that he didn't like public beefs. He said it should have been handled behind the scenes, which led Corey to remind Zoe about how he attacked Aries Spears live on the show, saying, when it's all in the song, Corey called Zoe a hypocrite, and Zoe called him a hypocrite for how he handled the Stephen A. Smith situation, which led to a heated back and forth with Zoe saying Corey should have managed the Aries Spears show better. Corey responded, you were sober, and you jumped on a drunk man. Corey reiterated, I'm not Aries Spears. You're not gonna play me like you did him. He said, you shouldn't have beat Aries up and then duck all the financial responsibility. Zoe responds, how many times did I call you and say, when I hit my lick, I will pay you the bread back? Saying Corey's response was, don't worry about it. He was referring to when Aries hired lawyers to sue Corey. Corey had to spend $20,000 to hire lawyers, and Zoe never paid him back for causing the situation. Eventually, Zoe would pay Corey the money back, and the two would reunite for a few shows, putting the beef behind them, but Zoe would never come back as a regular guest. As one of the best comedians with a great stage show, Corey would speak his mind when it came to other comedians with no filter. Whether he found them funny or not, or he didn't respect their come-up, his point of view would always cause issues with comedians such as Jess Hilarious, whom he would call less hilarious, calling her a joke thief and criticizing her comedic talent. He also spoke on Gerard Carmichael, whom he called the industry plant, saying he has no upbringing in comedy and was given opportunities like a TV show, specials directed by Spike Lee, and being able to host award shows because he fit the mold of what kind of black man Hollywood wants to see. This issue caused a problem with Corey and comedian Little Rel, who worked with Gerard on his television show. Rel would defend Gerard, taking shots at Corey, questioning his work ethic. Corey would go on to clown Rel and question some of the things he has done. Dave Chappelle always gave Corey respect for how strong his stage show was. Corey always gave Chappelle respect back, but recently revealed his feelings about Chappelle's stage show, saying he is always bombing because he talks throughout his whole show instead of making actual jokes. This caused an uproar in the comedy community, resulting in Dave's frequent collaborator, comedian Donnell Rollins, calling Corey out while Corey was on stage. Donnell was in the audience. Corey made a joke about, if you've been in a certain amount of movies, you have been compromised. This triggered Donnell, who would start yelling at Corey from the audience. Corey proceeded to call Donnell a mild comedian, saying his comedy is not strong. Donnell would yell back, trying to defend his comedy come-up. This incident was recorded and went viral, making it to TMZ. Marcus Smith is an upcoming comedian who Corey met while joking outside of a comedy club. He would invite Marcus up to the 5150 show to watch, then eventually allowed him to be on the show for a couple years. Marcus would start his own podcast using the blueprint and the engineer he got from Corey. He eventually stopped being on the show, but it seemed like him and Corey was still cool, until Corey had an accident on his bike, which led to him breaking both of his wrists. Corey didn't let that stop him from filming his show, and he showed up anyway with both wrists bandaged up. Instead of calling Corey and checking up on him, Marcus decided to make a joke video to bring more views and attention to his channel. This would cause Corey to look at Marcus as an enemy and went in on him on his show, speaking on all the things he has done to help him, like getting him a car after he crashed his own, taking him on the road, letting him on his podcast, as well as helping him start his own. So why is Corey Holcomb hated? I think it's because when you live your life in the public and you are not afraid to speak your mind, you are bound to be criticized and judged. When you allow people in your life and try to help them, sometimes their motives are different than yours. When you wear your heart on your sleeve and don't let people treat you the way they want to, you are bound to have enemies, some even starting as friends. Even though he is hated, he is definitely respected for his talent, with his show getting hundreds of thousands of views every week. In the comments, you will see people criticizing him for things that every human is guilty of. But Corey doesn't mind being true to himself, even if he is viewed as wrong or imperfect to the public. The same people that criticize him continue to watch him every week, which proves there's a thin line between hate and love. As much as he is hated, he is still respected. Thank you for watching The Life Television. Please like and subscribe for more.